How's it going? So today I'm going to do a playthrough of Warsim. This is quite a while later now. This is a year since the last time I did a playthrough of this. There's been a few things changed since the last video, but aside from that, it's still basically the same game. Not complete yet, still as well, so that's worth noting. So we're in version 0.5.9. Warsim is a kingdom management game with a high emphasis on player control and player power. So as noticed in a lot of games I've played in the past, being king never really meant anything more than a few options. And I wanted to make sure that the player had real power. And it went on from there. So choose our difficulty. I want to play in hard mode because I feel if you get everything given to you, you can't really show it off as much. So I'm going to do it from I'll do it from solid. So normally you play as the ruler of the kingdom of Aslona, but in this case I've chosen to rule the city of Aslona. So this is in the case that the kingdom has fallen more or less, and you're defending the last stand of your remnant empire. So you're the ruler of the city of Aslona, once the eye of the great kingdom of the same name, now little more than an independent city. The rebellion of Faradal the Kinslayer rests on your doorstep, and the hordes of countless bandit kings circle your lands waiting for a moment to strike. The world is vast and complex. There is much to see and do, and little time to waste. From the fabled ancient lands to the blood-soaked arena, these lands call to be united under the flag of Aslona, which is the name of your kingdom. So we've got a screen here. We can see it's the 103rd year, which is the year it always starts at. We've got 250 gold, 126 men. We've got one land. Public opinion of us is 35. Nothing of interest us after this turn. And you see all the groups. Now everything below the first four are completely random generated every game. So we've got the rebels, who are your main rival. This is a rebellion that has taken over your kingdom and has snatched half of its land, basically, but in this case, almost all of them. We've got the bandits, which is the story behind them is that they were originally separate groups of bandits, like the ones you see below, who united under the banner of a man called Fainor, the overlord of all bandits. And you've got two goblin kingdoms, Krut and Iraq. They're quite indifferent to you. And below that, the first five following Iraq are the randomly generated. So they have random leaders, random soldiers, and random mix. So we've got the Grizzly Knight Pillagers, the Distinguished New Raisers, the Ivory Southern Shield Wall, the Brave Destroyers, and the Silent Eagles. And below them we have five randomly generated kingdoms who also exist in this world. So we've got the Grey Banded Dusk Kingdom, the Goliath Soul City, the Young Territory, the Worthy Granite Duchy, and the Goliath 3 City. So let's have a look. So I'm not going to attack anyone because I don't think there's anyone I could successfully take. I've only got 126 men, and I would get probably killed straight away. So I'm going to launch no attack system, and we'll see the event screen. So this is end of turn report, the end of every year. So we received 6 golden rents, which is terrible. 9 new soldiers have joined us. However, all of them have now fled to rebellion. Our knights train 5 peasants into soldiers, and our peasants earn us 25 gold. Bandits make away with all of our income, and a knight pledges himself to our service. And aside from that, we've got some spy reports, so we can see what the main 4 factions are doing, recruitment-wise. You can see that the bandits have recruited a lot of new bandits and warlords. It's 27, I think, new recruits. That's terrible. So I think our first process, we'll go through everything. Excuse me. So the first tab we've got is recruit troops. So what this does, I think I'm going to move this off the screen actually. It's unneeded, but yeah. So the first thing we've got is recruit troops, and the recruitment screen. So these show you all the local bodies of hireable troops in your kingdom. So you have a goblin slaver who every turn has a chance of getting new goblin slaves you can hire. A bandit prison, where you can hire bandits who've been arrested for their crimes. And then you've got knights from noble houses, soldiers from guilds, and peasants from the local militia. Now you can actually outlaw the local militia. They can actually disband and disappear. And as for the bandits, you can actually ban, free all the outlaws. In which case you get random bandits coming to you every turn, and you can also ban government slavery, so which prevents that from ever happening. Can't afford to hire anyone, so but what happens if you go into one is the local militia master is brought before you, or the local guild master, etc. So the second screen is mercenary groups. Now we have a few. These are all randomly generated, of course, and when one of them dies, as long as they're still a free territory, new bandit groups, new mercenary groups will take up their place. So in this case, we've got the Green Demons, the Reigning Hill Mercenary Company, the Royal Fire Clan, Steel Company, and the Copper Renegades, and we can check them out and see what they're asking for. So we've got a few that are, the ballpark is about 5,000 gold, and then one of them asking for 10,000. So we'll check out the Green Demons. They're led by a man called Kark the Black-Hearted. There are 471 green cell spears. They have a capacity to attack 6 times per year. So what that means is, every time we go back to, I mean, I'll demonstrate it, but it means they can only attack your enemies 6 times in 1 year period, which is before you leave the menu and go back to the attack screen. So you can only attack once per year, but they can attack 6 times in this case, but it varies per group. The minimum is 2 and I think the maximum is 6. Now what you see here, this group is currently available for hire, however they charge a 2,500 gold fee per invasion to cover the risk involved. Is a rare feature that some groups will have, which makes them cheaper. That means that if you use them for capturing land, they're going to cost you. So, you can also hire them for just a single attack if you don't fancy hiring them for a permanent campaign. And we've got the Royal Fire Company, and there's actually, wow, very similar troop level. There's only 6 more troops in this one, but it's twice the cost. They also attack 6 times per turn. This one doesn't charge you to invade, and also I'm assuming that the Royal Soldiers are going to be a bit more powerful because they'll have random strengths. This one's led by Bolag the Enemy. Very interesting. So we're not going to hire any because we have no money. And we've got heroes and champions. So you have 5 slots in your kingdom for champions. I mean, you can send them off, and then you'll have a new slot. And every turn, this list is reset, and you have random champions you can hire. So whatever. So we've got diplomatic actions. So all the factions that currently exist are accessible. So you've got the rebels. Led by Farrell the Kingslayer, we can see they have 952 men, 6 lands, 2,000 gold. Now we can ask them to disband, but they'll ask for such a ridiculous amount of money we'll never get, which is in this case 5.7 million. It's not going to happen. The bandits will agree to a truce instantly, which we will accept. Independent kingdoms we can speak to. So the Grey Banner Dusk Kingdom is led by a man called King Jorah the Usurper. We'll make a trade agreement with him and then form an alliance. We'll do the same with all of them. The Goliath Soul City is led by Mayor Elmar the Arrow. We'll do the same with him. They're usually very receptive at the moment because, as far as I know, the personalities of these independent rulers aren't fully implemented. There will be eventually some that are very hostile no matter what. So here we have Warlord Tor the Highborn of the Young Territory. And then we have Duke Filch Longbeard of the Worthy Granite Duchy. And finally, King Drassel the Smiling of the Goliath Free City. So, on we go. Then we got minor goblin clans and things like that. So, let's have a look. Now we're going to change the laws of the land. This is an interesting one. So we've got taxes and subsidiaries as the first set of laws. So we can incite gambling tax, banking tax, land tax, and we can subsidise the arena. Land tax is by default on every turn, that's where we get our rents from our territories. Banking tax means you will get less interest, however you will receive a fixed fee every turn. It's usually a good shout, but the people don't like it. Gambling tax means you get less money, or there's less maximum amount you can bet in an arena, but you will get a fixed amount of money every turn. So recruitment and training. So we have free enlistment, which means you get a set amount of soldiers per turn based on your land. You can declare forceful enlistment, in which case instead of getting soldiers you get peasants, but there are twice as many as there would be soldiers. You can declare no enlistment if you don't want anyone to be recruited at all. You can also ban local militia, which means there is no local militia you can hire from, but you will receive a small amount of extra peasants every turn. And you can also cease peasant training, which means your knights will not attempt to train your peasants into soldiers. So we're actually going to declare forceful enlistment, because at this point we need every person we can get. But public opinion has gone down because the people don't like forced enlistment very much. And if we ban the militia, they'd hate us even more. So we're not going to do that, because negative public opinion has negative effects. So we've got recruitment and training. We've done that. Goblin laws. So there are numerous things we can do with goblins. But what we're going to do is, so Goblin Scorch means that you pay a set amount every turn based on how many goblins are captured from the rival kingdoms. Goblin kingdoms will hate you for this, and there's no real reason to do it unless you want prisons full of goblins. So what we're going to do is ban goblin slavery. So if you ban goblin slavery and the slavers have been jailed, slaves have been freed across the lands, 6 goblins have come to serve you and out of gratitude. We've also gained public opinion, and we will gain relation with the goblins. So the defending goblin clans will be pretty happy with us. We can also begin a thing called a goblin celebration, which means you get a set amount of relation bonus with the goblins, as well as bonus troops and public opinion, but it's costly, especially at this point. We've got mercenary policies, which allow us to actually outlaw mercenary groups, in which case we can actually fight them. We can also force ourselves to get different size ones, so if you want to get bigger or smaller ones. And then finally, we've got other policies. So we can have a bandit scorch, which means we capture bandits every turn, pay for them. We can have longer harvest hours, which means you get slightly more money, but people will die harvesting your crops because they're overworked. And then finally, forgive outlaws, which allows outlaws back into society, but will cause massive public opinion drop. We're going to do neither of those. We'll leave that as it is. So next on the list is kingdom upgrades. This is a big screen. So here's the mouse back again. No, I don't need it. Okay, so here you can build a lot of things. We've got nobility quarters, training ground. So I can explain what each one do, but it does say it on the side. So nobility quarters will give you a random amount of knights per turn. Training grounds will train your men, even if you have no knights to do so. Shrine of the Harvest will double income from each harvest. Grand Champions quarters, lots of things. We can't afford any of these, but they have various uses, from getting extra money per turn, to meaning more champions appear in arenas, to meaning you can explore more times per turn, to get attacked by bandits less. Very numerous things. We can also sell our land if we wish, but we only have one land, so we can't do that at the moment. If you have more than one land, you can sell them on to other independents. We can also convert our knights into recruiters, which is usually a good use of doing it, because instead of training, they will recruit per turn. Random troops. We've also got the ability to sell peasants and sell soldiers, but we're not going to do that. So how do we earn money? Best bet at the moment is the arena, even though we have none, but before we can bet, we need to take out a loan. So we go to the bank. So the bank is the very next on the list, actually. So you get 1,000 gold loan limit per territory you own. Being that we only own one, 1,000 gold only. So we're going to withdraw that. Now, to pay back that loan, it'll probably be about 1,400 or 1,200 to pay back. Check it out. 1,200 if we want to pay back that loan. So we're going to need to make some more money. So we've got a fight between a goblin warlord and a goblin. Goblin warlord's going to win, so I'm going to bet all the money. It costs 10 gold per foot to watch a fight anyway, so we've lost some money. But Goblin Warlord will win this because they're stronger. This is the fight screen, so it randomly generates moves that happen during the fight and logs them. And there's the continual health between the people and the fighting guy. So in this case, Goblin Warlord has kicked the goblin backwards and then done a good hit on them and won the fight. We can bet on another one. So as you see, the maximum limit has gone down because there's only a certain amount of gold that the arena has each turn. And if you take all that away, well then they won't accept any more bets. And then by having more lands, that will increase, and also by adding the arena subsidization, they will also have a higher betting max. So we're going to bet everything on the famous Goblin Warlord or Bandit Warlord because they're definitely going to win. Okay, and there we go. We'll bet another time. This time we're going to bet on the Goblin Berserker. 330. And we're going to bet again on. Ooh, that's a tough fight. I'm going to say King Killer Bandit, but I'm not confident, so I'm going to bet 850. Brilliant. We've got a heroic Goblin Warlord against a blind Goblin. No brainer. and we're done. So we've made all the money we possibly can. We can also just watch fights for the fun of it, but that will also cost us 10 gold entry fee. That was an interesting one. And we can also view the Hall of Fame. So the Hall of Fame is currently empty as no one has died. So we can also buy the arena if we have the money, but we don't. We can start tournaments, but we don't have the. Oh, actually, we do have the money to start a 8-man tournament, but I don't think I'm going to do that because we need that to survive. And we can also view the Grand Champion. So the current Grand Champion of this arena is Jadrag of the Creek. He is the current Grand Champion of Islona. Having recently assumed the title, he has no wins to his name, but will soon fight his debut fight as champion. Okay, so let's watch the fight. There is only one of these per turn, but you can force more by paying bribes. So he's fighting a man called Khaled the Silver-Skinned King. And Jadrag has won. There's an interestingly long fight log actually. That is possibly the longest one I've ever seen. So, big fight. Lots of parries and hits. Things. Wow, okay, good fight. So we can actually view the statistics of this Grand Champion. Jadrag of the Creek, he has a strength of 150, which is the exact equivalent of a plain knight. He has 1 win, and he lives in the townhouse, and he's not won any tournaments. So as you see, your Grand Champions, you can watch as they balloon up and end up with all these titles and trophies and win records. And you never know, they might die. So we can actually hire the Grand Champion to be one of our champions. We can anoint him and make him a Sir. We'll give you statistics. We can challenge him by making him fight against one of our men. So there's numerous things you can do. And so we've made a lot of money this turn. Now what have we got next? We can visit buildings, but we haven't built any of these yet, so we can't actually go into this. We should pay off our loan, because it will increase every turn. So now we own nothing. So now we've got kingdom management. Now here you can do a few things. You can view your own troop account. So we can see that we have 95 peasants and 5 soldiers and 6 goblins, giving us 106 in total. We can view the faction rankings, which tell us the richest faction, most troops, most territory, most peasants, knights, and soldiers. So we can see the goblins of Iraq have the most land, and pretty much the dominator in the whole troop area is the Greyban of Dusk Kingdom. And you can view more in depth reports this way, so we can see who's got what. We can see that we are actually the weakest faction military-wise, which is depressing. Okay, so we've also got cheats menu, but I'm not going to tell you any of those. You can change your troops' wages here, which is a wise move. The higher your troop wages, you'll have to pay this per unit every turn, which is a lot of money, but you will gain new troops all the time coming in based on the idea that you have good wages. So you can also explore the land. Now there are about 50 places you can find. There's a random chance you'll find one each time you press explore. However, there is a fixed order in which you'll find them. So the first one is there's a slave assault, and luckily we found it this turn. So in here we can hire slaves. They're usually quite cheap. So I've just bought 1,050 people. That's the cheapest unit you'll ever buy. We've also got slave soldiers. However, it's not good to hire those if you don't have a big army yourself, because if there are more slave soldiers than there are regular units in general in your army, there will be a slave revolt. We can also buy the slave operation if we have enough money, or attack them. However, there are 1,018 men garrisoned in the slaver fort, so it's probably not a good idea. So we're going to leave that. And right, so one is left to be done. We're going to hire some mercenary company. And I think we're going to hire the Green Demons. No. No, we're going to hire the Royal Clan. And we're going to pay them for one single attack. And we're going to have them invade the rebels. So you see, we've got 400, the Royal Fire Clan. And we're going to send them to attack the rebels. And we're going to invade. So the Royal Fire Clan are all ready for the attack, with 447 Royal Soldiers ready to die for you. For their ranks, their leader, Bolag the Unyielding, approaches and asks how you want the attack to go. So we're going to invade. Here goes. So this is the first you'll actually see of combat, because obviously we haven't had a chance to do it as ruler, because our army is too weak. So let's see how it goes. So as you might have seen there, it simulates a battle. And see the royal soldiers defeated a bunch of peasants and also died. But it looks like in the end we won. So the invasion was a success. We gained loot, land, and glory. So we've gained 1 land from the rebels. The mercenaries have 372 men remaining, and we killed 158 rebels, losing 106. So it wasn't a bad fight. They did well. So we've paid them, so we haven't got as much money now, but we do have 2 lands, which is good. And also, our men have doubled because of a bug, but stuff's being worked on. So we've now got an extra land, which is perfect, because that's how we're going to get stronger. I'm going to do the arena subsidization law, and we're going to leave it at that. And that should be good enough, in theory. So, who should we attack now? No one again, because I think we're still too weak. And we'll see a lot more going on now. So, we received a lot more rents from our 2 lands. It's randomly generated every turn the amount of money you'll get, but it is based on the territory. So now that we've got 2, we are more likely to get more money than when we have 1. We've received money from the trade caravans from all of our newly found allies. We've enlisted 27 new peasants, however all of our soldiers have now fled and joined the rebellion. We've earned 84 gold in the harvest. Our recruiters have recruited us 2 new peasants, and due to our high wages, 12 soldiers and 6 knights have come to our service. We've also paid 1,000 gold to arena subsidization law. And as we can see there, it tells you, in case you missed the fight, Jadrag of the Creek defeated Kellard the Silver-Skinned King. So, on we go. Now we'll be able to bet a lot more money. So that's usually my my shout is to buff your money up with betting on fights, and you have to play around and figure out who is more likely to win over who and things like that. And here we go. We've got a procedurally generated champion here called Averick the Golem. The problem is with named champions, they can be any strength. So this Averick the Golem could be a peasant. He could be weak. We don't know. So I'm going to go with the Goblin Berserker. I'm going to bet 100 gold on it. I lost. So Averick fights on because a named champion will fight on for 2 fights before being entered into the arena roster. However, if you can change the law so that, or change the rules for the arena. If you own the arena, then they'll fight for more than 1 turn. So we're going to see how that goes, and we're going to bet on him again. So I'm going to bet the rest of money, and he's going to win. And now if we have a look at, if you go to tournament and you click view champion roster, Averick the Golem is the 2nd, and the 1st will always be the grand champion. So if we decide to hold our own arena tournament, we'll see some change. So let's have a look at the grand champion fight. So Jadrag of the Creek, current grand champion of Azona, who has won a single fight in defense of his title and hopes to prove himself over time. Let's see his 2nd fight. So his 1st one was against the Silver-Skinned King, and this time he's apparently against the Lightning King. Let's see how that goes. And it was a quick victory for him by the looks of it. So Jadrag of the Creek holds a total of 2 wins and is so far undefeated, though still has much to prove. He also currently holds the record of the most fights won by any champion in the history of the arena. Interesting. Okay. So we'll explore around. There's plenty of stuff you can do. And what I think we're going to do now is hire the Royal Fire Clan again to attack our wonderful friends, the rebels. Take another land. And once more again, we'll take another land. And oh, Bolag the only England has been killed. So, as you see, the Royal Fire Clan are destroyed. There'll be a new mercenary group next turn taking over the space because they don't lose any territory. But if you attack them yourself, they'll lose lands and you'll be able to do it. So, we've got three territories now. We can actually still hire another group, so I think we're going to hire. What else we got? We'll hire them, and we'll attempt an invasion. Oh, successful. Very good. We'll do it again. And Service the Hellish is killed. So there we go. Steel Company are also destroyed. So now we're going to hire the Green Demons. We're hiring the Green Demons. We're going to hire them to I'll hire them to invade these guys. I'll hire them to invade the rebels. So we pay 2,500 in gold for the capture of land, as these are those kind of mercenaries. Although it looks like we've actually hired them straight up, so now they're our troops, which is great. So we're going to use them for skirmishing, and we're going to skirmish these. Notice they only have 2 out of 6 moves now, because they can do only 6 per turn. It will refresh then when I leave the menu. I can also provide them with soldiers if I want, beef up their ranks, and I can also ask them to assimilate into my army or to disband completely. And I'm going to do neither. So let's see now. I'm going to have them attack the Silent Eagles, and we're going to invade. And all dead. So not having a good run here. But there goes that. So we have 6 lands now, and a lot of stuff has happened. Jadrag of the Creek was assassinated, which is terrible. And aside from that, some random stuff's going on. So in the Battle Arena, we'll have a new random Grand Champion now. So we got Jorah the Wounded against Dander the Hellborn. And Dander the Hellborn is the Grand Champion. And we can actually have a look at the Grand Champion Hall of Fame and see that we've only got 1 dead champion. Jadrag of the Creek wins 2, assassinated in the year 105. So it will say how they died, whether they were assassinated or how they left their role as Grand Champion, because some will leave, some will quit, some will be murdered. It does vary, but for the most part they should be able to live long and prosperous careers before being defeated. So I mean, I can show you examples of that, but let's bet on the arena and get our money up. And we've lost it all. So, long story short, there's lots of stuff you can do in the game. I can cheat. And then number 7 gives you 7 million gold. If I use that, I can hire 520 of these, or we'll see what we can do with cheats. And I'll show you the full heights of diplomacy. So, we see we've got a bunch of new mercenary companies now. Elves is refreshed. The Purple Dark Hunters, Raining Hill Mercenary Company, Black Banded Crows, the Lava Demons, and a couple of Renegades. So we're going to hire them permanently, and we're going to attempt to assimilate them into our army. You can ask them a few times, and eventually they either will or they'll probably leave you. And so they've actually refused and quit. So there we go. And I'm going to try and do it to these. Attempt assimilation. Sometimes they get really pissy with you and they actually cancel their contract with you, which this guy has done 3 times. We finally got them. So it is a case of spamming it, but it's costly. We've assimilated all of them. We've now got 2,722 men. I'm going to arrange diplomacy, and we'll pay the rebels to disband. Faradol the Kinslayers will renounce their lands and their men, etc. We've got a new group called the Warborn Black Dragons that have arisen, so we're going to bribe them to disband. Actually, we'll bribe them to join us. And we've got deserters as well. We're going to hire them. We've got the Independent Kingdoms. So what we can do is we can actually buy land off them, which we're going to do until they have very little territories. We're going to buy some of these. We'll buy some land off these guys. So we're going to basically become a powerhouse by being wealthy. Now a lot of this stuff is work in progress and won't be how it remains, but varies. So, and then we'll build up a bunch of upgrades. Okay. Oh, crap. I may have put the menu there. So let's attack the Goliath Free City. We'll invade. We'll send 549 of our peasants, 188 of our soldiers, 91 of our knights, 6 of our governors. And we got them. That was an incredibly one-sided fight. And we've defeated them. So, amid rumours of a monster stalking our lands, a great deal more men join the militia force. Wonderful. There we go. Lots more militia to be hired. So we should have some new mercenary groups now. So we're going to hire them to moisten, and we can groups that exist. Like in this case, the bandits. And they've been defeated. Now we're going to hire whether we want to attack these guys. And the mercenary groups are a great way to get lots of land. So in this case, we just defeated a faction with them, and now they're still there. We just used up all their attacks this turn. So these guys, we're going to have them attack these guys. They won. We're going to have them attack 13. So these sides, the fights against independent kingdoms are clearly broken, but still we'll take that for now. I'll use that. It's quite fun. So there's that done, and then what have we got left? These guys, we'll use them to attack. Number 9, we'll play them. And we'll also use attack 8. So those factions are defeated when they have no more territories left. And we can also go to the arena. So we've upgraded our kingdom to the maximum. We should be able to access these things. But let's go to the arena. And we'll see now that we have enough money, we can buy the arena. And we can upgrade it. We can add guard posts, beast cages, and we can change the acoustic amount of watching a fight. We can change the amount of wins required to get in. We can wipe the Hall of Fame records, and if we get a Grand Champion, we can actually force the Grand Champion to fight in it again, and keep doing that, and again. And if they refuse, we can actually demote them. You see, we've got a guy called Dan to the help, and he's doing very well. He's also got a lot of money. Oh, he's adamant of his choice this time, so he refuses. But it's bugged at the moment, so you can infinitely pretty much ask him to fight for you. So Dan to the help, and he's doing well. Well, we're going to depose him, and we get a new one called Sir Zotho of the Isle. So now we'll have a look at the Hall of Fame. We've got Jadrag of the Creek and Sir Zotho of the Isle. Well, long story, but there we go. So without much further ado, that is the semi-bugged and unfinished version of the kingdom management game Warsim. There's lots in it. Actually, before I go, have a look at some of the exploration parts. There's lots of places you can visit. I mean, this game is almost endless in its replayability. We've got fight pits. You can watch battles between people, bet on them if you wish. And you can even actually buy this fight pit and arrange fights between brutes and warriors and pit brawlers, procedurally generated, and at the end of each fight you get, different amounts of money from them. You've got wishing well. You can make a wish, and there's a chance they can come true. There are, gibbering monks that you can give coins to who will do different things every turn. There's a place called the Demon Gate, where if the demon horde, or if these demons grow every turn, and if the number here at the camp gets to 1,500, they'll invade your lands. There's lots and lots going on. There's the artifact market where you can buy special artifacts. There's the black market where you can buy cheats, flip coins, hire bandits, do all sorts of things. There's lots in this game. There's even a magic theatre. But yeah, so there's lots to do in this game. It has the potential to be fun. There's a lot of work going into it, and there's plenty more to come. But that's everything for now. So thank you for watching. Sorry if I've been a boring host. There's possibly going to be a download link for the game, but I'd love to hear what anyone thinks about it, if anyone does think about it. And thanks for watching, I guess.